With us now, New York Times media columnist and contributor to the New York Times, Jim Rutenberg. Jim, it's so good to have you here.
No tie? What's up?
Oh, it's up. Oh, stop that.
Switch.
That's just
Bait
not
and
nice. He's going, oh, you look just like Joe, sloppy. No, you look good, man. You look good.
I'm joking. Jim, you write in the New York Times.
This is an amazing piece, but
a lesson in Moscow about Trump-style alternative truth. I wanted to better understand President Trump's America, a place where truth is being ripped from its moorings as he brands those tasked with lashing it back into place, journalists, as dishonest enemies of the people. So I went to Russia. As soon as I turned on a television here, I wondered if I had arrived through an alt-right wormhole. Back in the States, the prevailing notion in the news was that Syrian President Bashar al-Assad had indeed been responsible for the chemical strike. There was some reportage from sources like the conspiracy theorist and radio host Alex Jones that the chemical attack was a false flag operation by terrorist rebel groups to goad the U.S. into attacking Mr. Assad, but that was a view from the fringe. Here in Russia, it was the dominant theme throughout the overwhelmingly state-controlled mainstream media.
So
Wow.
there is a connection. You know, Ann Coulter a couple of days ago, I guess, had said that Assad was one of the best leaders in the region. No, I'm dead serious here. So there is a linkage between some people here on the alt-right and Russia. They're saying the same exact thing.
Yeah, you have to wonder, first of all, seeing Alex, like now realizing I got to stay up on top of my Alex Jones is like,
oh my God.
Wow, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you go to Russia and you get to see what it looks like if the kind of the fantasy that we hear about on some alt-right types and even President Trump's rhetoric, you see it play out, and it's a very different place.
Is Vladimir Putin, do you think he's happy with what has happened in the election and what is happening now within our media?
I mean, they have to be thrilled because what we have, this situation, and what I realized from being there was that it plays to his strengths more than it plays to our strengths. What does America have? In spite of all of our mistakes over the years, we have our credibility, and our credibility comes from a free press that vets its president. You get into an international crisis situation where all the news is questionable, there is no truth, then it's our word against theirs. It's the relativism that Putin thrives on.
What's the perception of Donald Trump right now in Russia as it comes through that prism of the media that you studied over there? What do they think about Donald Trump there?
Well, here's what's interesting, and it's almost like right out of 1984, where, you know, Oceania is at war with East Asia. It has always been. The state media was very much with Donald Trump,
Right.
as we know and as we've heard, but it flipped. And it flipped hard. So Sean Spicer's comments on the Holocaust centers, they went crazy with that in state media.
So they've turned on Trump a little bit there.
They've turned on him, like not just a little bit, like a lot bit.
And also, you find that he sort of shot himself in the foot because when he needs the media, he's undermined it so much. It's sort of not working exactly the way maybe this president was hoping.
I mean, they literally threw it back in his face. So when he tried to fight back, when the Russians were questioning the reason for the Tomahawk strikes.
Right.
So the White House released through the press some intelligence and some arguments that even Russia might have even known about this, that Syria certainly did this. They said, oh, well, American press is fake. We know that this is a big problem in the United States, and President Trump is right. So they used his own argument against him. Who does that? It doesn't serve him.
No.
Well, you know, what's interesting, though, Jim, and you've been charting this very closely, a lot of people have been very concerned about Donald Trump, freedom of the press. I think it was the Times that wrote an article that said, I think it was the Times that said, okay, hold on, once again, Donald Trump cannot change the First Amendment. He can't change New York Times v. Sullivan. The First Amendment will remain the First Amendment. Score how the press has done in the first 80 days against Donald Trump, because I heard all of these things when Trump was being inaugurated, that journalists were going to be dragged off to jail and chained to radiators and all, you know, beaten and shot. The failing New York Times way
really
up.
Failing
and I will
is a good
I will
thing.
say CNN and MSNBC's ratings way up. Morning Joe's ratings way up.
Looks good on
Everybody's way up. So it looks like Donald Trump has only empowered the people he hates.
www.New York Times. Click the subscribe button. Yeah.
But no, I'm dead serious.
You don't need to do that.
Donald
Sales
Trump,
rep.
by attacking the press,
Agreed.
has helped the press so much.
Agreed. I mean, first of all,
in terms of money, this isn't just sort of a general Like,
Well, and
he's helped our
eyeballs.
bottom line.
And maybe fundamentally, we'll see how long this
Yeah.
lasts. But one thing that is heartening from Russia is this. We have a tradition of a free press. And I agree with you that this presidency so far, I think the press has been very strong. And a lot of things that people feared haven't come to pass. It doesn't mean people like me are paid to be vigilant, and I'm happy.
No, we have to stay
No.
vigilant. But Mike Barnicle, you've been around, you've seen an awful lot. But you can look at this report card, the first 80 days. The press, check. That institution has held firm. The courts, check. Challenged by the president, its legitimacy, held firm. Congress, the president said he was going to roll over Congress, check. They have held firm. The institutions of this United States, the CIA, which he said he was going to gut, and his first national security advisor was going to gut and politicize the intel community. Check. They have held firm. This is not how
National Security
Homeland
Advisor
ended
gone.
this season. It's quite the opposite.
No, judicial branch, legislative branch, big winners. No one has been a bigger winner, I think, than the media. I mean, we've been validated in the past 90 days. But my question to you, Jim, is were you able to get any sense among people in Moscow of the level of impact that state-run media has on them?
Well, it's funny because Moscow it's a very cosmopolitan place, obviously, and there it's sort of like, yes, of course we know the state media says X,
Yeah.
but state media is the power. Television is the power, and President Trump realizes this too, that television is the most powerful medium, and it is
So-
fully controlled.
You made the point that Russian media's portrayal of Trump has changed significantly since his election. Case in point, according to top Russian TV propagandist, Donald Trump is more dangerous than the leader of North Korea. Dmitry Kiselyov called Trump, quote, more impulsive and more unpredictable than Kim Jong-un. That was followed by a warning from Russia's foreign minister that a unilateral U.S. strike on Pyongyang would be, quote, a very risky course of action. It's amazing.
Yeah, Dmitry Kiselyov is their #1 TV presenter, but he also happens to be a state employee. He works for their propaganda arm. So that is coming right at it.
Whoa.
Yeah, right from the top.
So what did Vladimir Putin
Whoa.
get out if he did in fact tamper with our election, as our Secretary of State and everyone else has now said out loud? What did he get out of it? What did he get in Donald Trump?
It was a
if he
pretty
did
bad
help with-
investment,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Well, it depends on what you want. Do you want what does Russia thrive on? If you see the current administration
Chaos.
is chaos, they thrive on chaos. So maybe, what did he expect to have someone who's going to do his bidding, or did he expect someone to kind of set, if he did this?
But all he's done is, I believe, helped strengthen our institutions, made Americans more hostile towards Russia. Take a closer look at all the journalists he's assassinated, all the countries he's invaded, all the planes he's shot down. I don't know, I'm not the first person who said this, but Vladimir Putin mastermind, this may have been a chess move he didn't want to make because it's not ending too well for him.
Well, when people there in the state realm complained to me about Donald Trump, I said, well, you delivered him. It was a joke. It didn't go over very well.
Yeah. What do you have?
Critics, right?
Oh, critics see signs of interference in the French vote. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It's the same dynamic they're seeing in France in terms of Russian media, in terms of potential Russian hacking. But the Russian media answer is, hey, we're just providing an alternative view of the news.
Just like RT.
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic. Jim Rutenberg.
By the way, how do you connect, for people that watch RT here, how do you connect RT with the media that you saw? Is that all Russian owned, Russian controlled? Are they all propagandists for Putin?
They are completely state funded. Mm-hmm. They have some kind of level of what they say is independence, but it was the same thing. I think their coverage was the same as I saw on, in Russian.
Jim Rutenberg.
What?
Thank you.
What?
Thanks, Jim.
The layers,
What?
the layers.
No, my dad warned me. All right, coming up at the top of the hour, a GOP identity crisis. That's how the Washington Post, Bob Costa, describes the special election in Georgia. Joins us live from Atlanta with more. And we'll bring in NBC's Kristen Welker from the White House with what that race means for the president's agenda.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.